Hey friends, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today we are in the kitchen and I just got a great deal on some cream. So if you want to see what we're going to be doing with all of this cream, stick around. Thanks for sticking around. Well, I got a great deal on some cream. This was at our Mennonite store in Iowa. We have a really nice Mennonite store there now. It is like the super center of Mennonite stores, and it's in Cantrell, Iowa, just a few miles north of the Missouri-Iowa border, and it is a beautiful store. But they were running a special of cream for $2.49 a quart. And if you've priced cream lately, you know that that's half the price that it is in the stores right now. And the only issue is it was getting very close to the expiration date. And it's actually just the best buy date. Cream will last longer than what it says on the container, especially if it's still closed. But I'm going to go ahead and use it up and make it into things that I can use, because we can't go through this much cream in a short amount of time. So what I started doing yesterday, the day before, I put some cream in an ice cube tray, and then yesterday I took it out and I put the cubes in a Ziploc bag, and then I filled it up again, and I have another tray right here. And what I'll do is I will just get those cubes out, and they're going to be kind of, sometimes this tray is not as flexible. There they go. And I'll just take those cubes out and add them to my cubes that I have here and refill it. These cubes I will use in soups, in recipes, ice cream, the frozen frappuccinos that we made, all sorts of things that I can just use small amounts of cream that I need. You could use it for coffee, whatever. So I've just put them in the Ziploc bag. I will refill my ice cube container, and I will do another batch. I read where you can whip frozen cream, but it will not peak as well as the fresh cream. So if that is something that you are wanting to use your cream for, just be aware of that. The other thing I read is you can actually whip your cream and then put it on a sheet with parchment paper like dollops, or you can squeeze it out into decorative little puffs and freeze that, and then bag those up, and that way you'll have little, whipped cream toppings for cocoa or desserts. So that might be an option. I don't know how well that would work, but it possibly would work just fine. So I'll go ahead and put cream in this one and get it in the freezer again, and we will just continue doing that. And this cream is really, really thick. All right. So let me get this put away and I'll be right back. All right, so with the other cream, we are going to make butter. And I figured, I looked up and it says that a quart of cream will make about a pound of butter, which is 4 sticks of butter. And it all depends on the fat content of your cream. So for 4 sticks of butter for $2.49, that's a really good deal. And we do go through a lot of butter because of baking. So I'm going to turn these 2 quarts into butter. So I will have hopefully about 2 pounds of butter. So there are 2 options when you're making butter with cream. Well, there's more than 2, but for me there was 2. And one was to use my food processor, the other was to use my KitchenAid mixer, my stand mixer. Now when you use your stand mixer, it does fly, especially when it's changing over, it starts splattering. And this large food processor has the lid on it. So I thought I'm just going to use this, that way it won't be quite as messy. So what we're gonna do is we're just putting our regular chopping blade in there, and then we are going to put our whole quart of cream. And there I go. I didn't wear my apron, so we'll see how clean I come out. So let me get that in. And this is really thick cream. So let's get all of that in there. That is really good. Seems like maybe this has already kind of started separating, and maybe it was shaken at some point or something and maybe started forming, or it had more cream than usual. Sometimes at a manufacturing company, something might happen, and that might be the case. But it's still very good. Better than very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on high power, and I'm going to let it go through the stages. The first stage, it will be a whipping cream, and then it will start separating out to be a liquid and a solid. And that solid is the butter, and the liquid is the buttermilk, which is different than the buttermilk you get at the store, but it is the old-fashioned buttermilk. It's not cultured, but I will stop it when it gets to be whipped cream, and I'll bring you back. Okay, it's just been less than a minute, and it is already a whipping cream. This has a very high fat content, I can tell, and you can see that is whipping cream. So I'm just going to clean the sides off, and it's going to turn to butter very quickly. This is going to go really quickly. Okay, put it back on. I'll bring you back when there's a change. It has been less than a minute. Now, I'm going to tell you that when you're making whipped cream, yours is not going to come out this quickly. I think this cream has just an incredibly high milk fat. And so right now, here is the consistency. It is kind of like a curdle. Oops. And it's just kind of granular. It is getting ready to separate. So it is going to turn really, really quickly. It will normally take about 10 minutes, or the process will take about 10 minutes, different stages. Okay, it's been about another minute. And I keep doing that. And you will now see that there is a definite liquid in there, and then there is the butter. Let me go ahead and bring this over to you. Okay, so you can see the butter and you can see the liquid in there. And this butter is full of liquid still. So we are going to, I'm going to spin this just a few more minutes, not much. See if I can pull a little more liquid out. Okay, I think we're ready, because I think if I mix it more, it's just going to become more granulated in there, and I'm just gonna have to push it together. So I think we are ready. And this, like I said, it doesn't usually go this fast, and this butter did. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to get all of the butter particles, and I'm going to strain off the liquid. So let me grab my stuff, and I'll be right back. All right, so what I've got is a strainer and then a bowl to collect the buttermilk. And we are just going to gently put this in the strainer. And I don't want to push down because the butter will go through the little holes and we don't want that. We just want to strain out the liquid that comes off naturally. And I tell you, this tastes so good. If you've not made real butter before, you have got to try it. It tastes so fresh. I got as much as I'm going to get out of there. Set that aside. And then I'm just going to, using my spatula, just kind of, I'm not pushing down on it because I don't want it to go through the holes. I'm just kind of lifting it over and letting the water come out of it. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big bowl, and it doesn't have to be this big, but this is what I've got here. And I'm going to put the butter in there, and it still has lots of liquid. It's okay. And here is what we call the buttermilk. And what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put some of the culture, the buttermilk culture that I have, which is just regular cultured buttermilk. And I'm going to make a jar of cultured buttermilk with this. So if you haven't seen my video on how to make your own buttermilk, really simple. You just have to buy buttermilk once, and that's the cultured buttermilk. And after that, you can always have it in your refrigerator and continue making it over and over again. So what I'll do is I'll put this in a 1 quart jar, add, probably a half a cup of my buttermilk, set it on top of my refrigerator covered with a cloth, and leave it there for about 24 hours. It will thicken up, and then just put a lid on it, stick it in the refrigerator, and you've got cultured buttermilk. So that's what I'll do with that. So nothing's going to go to waste. To the butter, I've got a pitcher right here of ice water, and we are going to put it on the butter. And I don't want the ice in there just because I don't want to be picking the ice out. And we are going to put the butter in there, and this kind of hardens it a little bit. And we're going to kind of clean the butter up. And when we clean it up, what we're doing is we're just pushing it and working some of that cold water in it. Because your butter will stay fresher longer if you have clean butter, and that means none of the milk particles. The fat will do really well, and it will stay fresh for a long time. But the milk part of it, the milk part will start to turn rancid a little, or not rancid, sour. And so you want to get those milk particles out of there. And by using cold water, you can press it out. And you can see, and I don't know if I've used a white bowl, but my water is creamy now, and that's just the milk particles that are coming out of the buttermilk. So I'm going to add some more cold. Just keep working it. And you can use your hands to do this too. I just figured this will keep it from warming up as much, because when you've got something warm, it's just going to melt your butter. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to put that here, and I'm going to dump this bowl of water, and then we'll add some clean water. And again, make sure you have cold ice water. And at this point, I am going to use my hands because I'm going to kind of be checking to see if we've got all the cream and milk out. My water is staying clear now, so that's our goal. You know that you have cleaned your butter well if your water is clear. Now, because this is really cold water, it is helping to keep the butter from sticking. Now, if you use warm water or tap water, you're going to have a mess. Okay. I'm going to set this over here for a second, and it's just a little bit cloudy, so I'm going to do it one more time. And I'm going to have to get a little more ice water. Just a second. And this should be our last rinse. The water's staying nice and clear. I don't think you can tell, but it's staying clear. So we are finished cleaning it. Now we're going to try to get as much of that water out. So I'm just going to take it's one of our cutting boards we use for bread. And I am just going to kind of work it a little bit on here, pressing it. I'm going to get a paper towel, and I'm just soaking up the water that's coming out of it. And you could probably use a tea towel too. But you'll every once in a while have a little bubble of water. And we're just getting that out of there. They used to have butter presses, and you would put your butter in the press, and then you'd press down and the liquid would come out. And then there would be a cute design at the top of the press. I have a couple of small ones. I ought to pull those out. So I am just working that liquid out, and I think it is good. I don't want to handle it too much because my hands will get warm, and I'll just stick them in this ice water here, chill them down a little bit. But we just want the water from the inside out of there. So I'm just going to set that in my strainer, clean my board. Now, if you want to add salt, this is the time we will do it. Get the water off of the board. And so I just make kind of like a little round with a little bowl shape. And you can use whatever kind of salt you want. I think I'm going to use some canning salt because it's really fine and there's no impurities in it. So I'm going to add just a little bit. And to this quart, I'll probably just add like half a teaspoon. So let me grab that. While I was grabbing the salt, I also grabbed these two little miniature presses. I know this one's not that old. This one is older. It's cracked. I don't know how old, but they would have larger ones than these. These are just little miniature ones. And it had a print or a design. And what you would do is you would pack your butter in here, then turn it onto a plate, and then press down and the liquid would come out. And you'd let it harden and your design would be on top when you took it out, and you just pop it out like that. And this was just a newer, it's a vintage one. It's not new by any means, but it's not an old one. But they're cute. So you could make individual little patties if you were having a special dinner. That would be fun. So let me add, and I said half a teaspoon, and I might go just a little bit less. I might be just a fourth of a teaspoon, I think. And I'm going to kind of sprinkle it around, and then I'm going to get my hands cold here and just kind of fold it in. Just to make sure it's well incorporated. And today, it is past the middle of August or October, and we're going to have 80 degrees. So it is a little warmer today. So if you were doing this on a cooler day, it would probably not be as soft, but we're getting a lot of that liquid out too. Okay. So I'm going to set it here. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then we're going to weigh it and see how much it weighs. Be right back. Okay, I've got my scale, and I'm just going to zero it out. And we're going to put this on top. And this weighs 16.37 ounces. So 16 ounces in a pound. This is about a pound. There may be a little bit more liquid in there. I know it's moist on top, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to chill this in the refrigerator, And then once it's nicely chilled, I will cut it into stick size, 1/4 pound pieces and kind of make patties or logs with them, probably make logs. And then I will be storing them in the freezer. I will probably freeze them on a sheet in the freezer and then put them in vacuum packed packages, 1 per vacuum pack. That way we can use it for baking or just fresh eating. I tell you, I tasted this with the salt and you can't beat fresh butter. So this is so much fun to do with kids. I know as an elementary teacher, we used to do it and we would just use a jar and we'd pass the jar around and turn cream into butter and then have that on crackers. And the kids absolutely loved it. So if you have kids, grandkids, when you're making this, let them be part of it because they will absolutely love it too. So I'm going to turn the rest of this into butter and then it will be stored in our freezer and we will be set. So I hope you enjoyed making butter and making frozen cream cubes. And I hope you too get a great deal on some cream. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you like it and you share it, it helps the algorithms so that my channel will be seen by more people. So any of those things are wonderful, and also I love to hear your comments, so please comment as well. Thanks for watching.